Two features that we're watching over the next week that are dropping in from the northwest that have the potential to bring some winter weather. The first one is going to take place Thursday and Friday here across parts of the east. This will be an interesting thing to watch here into Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware, PA. I don't know that this is going to end up being a northeast snowstorm. There's a couple of things working against it. In the video today, we're going to look at some new data. Now, another thing to watch too, behind this, okay, we're going to watch another piece of energy dive in from the northwest. What you don't have with the second feature is some type of southern stream energy. It tries to do something here, and that could do, it could be an interesting look heading into next week. We'll look at that closer in the coming days, so make sure you subscribe and come back. Let's talk about the potential for seeing snow. This right here, these maps, that is the European ensembles. There are 50 different members to look at, and we're not going to dig into each one, but when you look at this and you start to see kind of some consensus tonight, and what I'm seeing is a couple of outliers heading into next week with what some of the operational model runs are trying to show too with the southern snowstorm. I'm not a buyer yet of that at all. Let's look at what the GFS printed today for the snow. And look, if you're going to see snow, I think your chances are highest in the Appalachians, across PA, and then I think it's starting to grow some here into parts of Maryland, Delaware, and I'm going to go ahead and argue parts of New Jersey. Now, I think once you get north of, say, I don't know, Trenton, you get up towards New York City, Connecticut, Long Island, I think it's going to be tough to get this kind of storm moving north with the way that the models are printing this out today. The European kind of indicates what I'm talking about. Right here in New Jersey, a couple of heavier bands trying to show up with that upper low, and that's what's going to be driving this storm. These upper lows can sometimes cause a surprise, if you will, a quick burst of snow, and you can kind of see how that's going to evolve as it moves across Illinois, Indiana. Surface low pressure tries to develop. The European's actually trying to develop two of them, but underneath this, there could be a quick hit of snow. Across the west, if you're looking for snow and moisture, nothing here. This is unbelievable. I said this morning in the update. This is all the way through next Tuesday. Unbelievable. Some changes try to show up next week, maybe beyond that, but I don't know. Interesting to see this. Here's what we're dealing with right now in the short term. Monday and Tuesday, quiet across the southwest. Some showers across Texas. This is that system that's running out ahead of this piece of energy that's diving south across parts of the prairies. That's going to put some snow into parts of Manitoba. I don't know that we get much into places like Winnipeg. It looks north of you. But this is going to put some lighter snow into the Great Lakes now as we head into, what is this, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, almost like a clipper system, if you will. The energy, though, starts to dig. Okay, so now we're looking at this trough settling south, cold air working down with high pressure setting up here. So I think we're going to get some light snow for this time of year around the Great Lakes. Certainly not a big snowstorm here, with some lighter snows too back across Michigan, Indiana, Illinois. And now your trough setting like this, surface low pressure. The European is trying to develop this one low, let it outrun the upper low. And while this upper piece of cold air, and really when I say upper low, it's just a cold pocket of air, and it's actually completely cut off. It's very disconnected here, and it starts to spin and almost go negative. And now you've got this good diffluence. If you're going to see a heavy band of snow, it would be with this type of setup. This is the time period to watch. No promises. We're talking about Thursday. It's Sunday. So let's see how all this evolves over the next couple of days. But I'd tell you tonight, for PA, Maryland, Delaware, I'd go ahead and argue New Jersey even. And hey, I'll say the Eastern Shore of Virginia and parts of Northern Virginia, your chances of seeing significant snow is growing today, more than it was yesterday. Behind this, we've got some more cold air working in, another weaker system moving in, but again, this one's looking kind of weird. This is the European what storm, right? It's not seeing it today. The GFS, on the other hand, let's run these back to back. And again, we're watching what's going on in the east. When we do these videos where we dive in on the winter storms and where they are, sometimes people say, why didn't you talk about Wyoming or the Panhandle of Texas or northern Arizona or Nevada? Nothing's going on right now. It's unbelievably quiet, eerily quiet, actually. Okay, above average too, by the way, and I'll show you those numbers in just a second. This is where the GFS is. This looks significantly different, right? It's got what we call an anafront, or the front slows down, a ripple of low pressure moves along it. This, to me, I'm just going to tell you, the GFS, it's the European caved toward the GFS earlier last night, and I guess somewhat yesterday. But I just don't know about this look. Okay, so this looks kind of strange, but it tries to develop one single low, but you do still have that upper low, and this is super negatively tilted. Still something to look at. I think that is an impressive look. However you slice it, with a negatively tilted trough, that could put some heavier snow here. Further to the west, there is going to be some snow with this light band of snow that tries to break out with this piece of energy that works out of the far northwest. Not a lot of snow. Maybe some trying to work down into the central United States by next week. This is where the GFS is surging in a completely different direction. This is kind of where the European was a little bit yesterday. It's not sniffing the storm as much. Are you going to get snow in Alabama and Georgia? Let's get this first storm done first, because we're tracking energy. This trough that will dig in and cause this, it's not even in the picture yet. So a long way to go before we get there, but the GFS today continues to advertise a major snowstorm next weekend. It's still there. I'll be watching it every day. Here's your temperatures. Highs on Monday. A little bit warmer, actually, across parts of the Ohio Valley. Watch your numbers, though. We'll get a little bit warmer, too, on Tuesday, out ahead of our trough as we start to look back towards Missouri, down into Mississippi. We're back up into the 50s and 60s. Here comes the cold, though. Teens and 20s moving back into the Great Lakes, pushing all the way into the south as that front moves through. And now the question is, along this boundary, can something get going here on Tuesday? And can we get the cold in place with the moisture and enough lift? We'll see. All right, let's look at your temperatures across the central U.S. Look at this, guys. These are highs tomorrow. 60s. Look at these overnight lows. All right, I'm going to slow it down in just a minute. It'll make sense on the map I'm going to show you in just a second. Lows in the 50s possible up here across Montana, South Dakota. That's crazy. That's like 30 to 35 degrees above average for this time of year. So really warm weather ahead over the next couple of days. That gets pushed back a little bit, at least, especially across the Dakotas into Nebraska, but western parts of these states into Montana still staying warm as that ridge gets firmly built across the west, and your trough pattern starts to dig in the east with the cold. Some of that cold air does try to push all the way to the Gulf, and again, the question will be, once we get this next shot of cold that moves south, do we get some kind of interaction into parts of the south with a southern snowstorm? I'm not buying that just yet. And again, across the west, warm weather over the next couple of days, way above average. I mean, here's a look at your temperatures as we go through the next few days, Tuesday into Wednesday. And again, Tuesday, these are your departures from average. Look at it, stays red and orange out here. At least Wednesday, I'm going to let you see some hope. If you're trying to get some moisture out here, you're going to have a change. And you kind of start to see that on the GFS a little bit. Look at this, guys. We're 7, day 8, day 9. Do we believe anything past this point? I don't know that I do. There's a little bit of cold moving in, and that would bring some precip into the west. And if that happens, by the way, that blowtorches the east. Okay, so yeah, that's just one model. And again, all of these things are just data coming in. But take away from this, my confidence today is starting to grow a little bit on this European with this upper low, not necessarily across North Carolina. Let's back this up right here. Again, into PA, watch this region right in here. Okay, and I still think you're going to get some snow with this too. May not be as heavy further to the west as it swings east. More to come. See you next time.